I'm Mary West on the Voice of the Foothills, AM 950 KAHI. Have you ever thought about walking the entire distance of the Pacific Crest Trail, from the Mexican border to the border of Canada? Jack Haskel did it back in 2006. Now Jack's the trail specialist for the Pacific Crest Trail Association. Jack takes us back to 2006 and tells us about his experience walking the Pacific Crest Trail.
It took me 154 days, and it takes most people the entire snow-free season, which is about 5 months. You're walking the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail from Mexico to Canada, and it's 2,650 miles long.
Now, wouldn't it be better to go from Canada to Mexico? Wouldn't it be generally downhill?
No, there's a ton of uphill both ways, and yeah, some people, maybe about 5% of people, come from Canada and walk to Mexico. And I think that more people should try it that way.
Really, why?
Well, there's fewer people out there, so it's this remarkable wilderness experience, and it's one of those pioneering things. We don't know a whole lot about it.
Now, how old were you when you made the journey?
I think I was 23.
How did you prepare for such a walk?
Really a lifetime of backpacking. So I was introduced to hiking from my parents. And beyond that, just a lot of internet research, a lot of reading books, printing out maps, and then preparing financially for it with saving up money.
Round figure, how much does it cost to do the walk?
Well, it's about 5 or 6 months of living. So recommend that people have about $5,000 saved for food, replacement gear, things like that.
What do you take with you? What did you decide went into the backpack?
I'm an ultralight backpacker, like many people on the Pacific Crest Trail, so I tried to carry as little as possible, but it is important to have very sturdy survival gear. It's a wilderness experience, and you're camping along the way. And the weather is generally blue skies and sunny, but it can also be terribly cold. So I carried high-end outdoor equipment, and then plus some fun things like a cell phone and a nice camera and an iPod, stuff like that.
Now, did you make any stops staying at hotels or things a little more than just a sleeping bag on the ground?
Actually, lots of them. So I resupplied every 4 to 10 days, and I visited a whole number of different communities up and down the West Coast. Sometimes they're little remote lodges, and sometimes they're bigger cities, like I went into Portland and Seattle. Some of them, especially in Oregon, you come directly into small remote lodges, but generally when you cross a road, you hitchhike. So there's also a lot of hitchhiking involved in getting to small towns. And since the communities along the trail are familiar with Pacific Crest Trail hikers, they're used to picking up hikers and bringing them into town and sometimes putting them up.
Yeah, and we'll certainly caution folks to be careful when doing anything like that.
Absolutely.
What was your favorite spot? Was there a beautiful spot that you just, you were in awe when you reached it?
Yeah, definitely. So my favorite place on Earth, and I've done a lot of hiking, is the High Sierra. So north of Kennedy Meadows until about Yosemite, northern Yosemite, or even further north than that. Super beautiful. And then also the northern portion of the trail in Washington State is stunning. And in addition to those places, I really enjoyed the Big Bend region of Northern California, west of Shasta, because not too many people go there, and it's very large, impressive mountains. So it is a lot of walking. It's a crazy amount of walking. You're walking about 12 hours a day, or for me, it was about 25 miles a day every single day, or six days out of the week. But I really enjoyed pretty much all the sections of the PCT. Sure, there are some what I'll call connector sections between really scenic places, but it gives you time to think and talk with friends and plan your future.
Are there places on the trail that would be more difficult or even treacherous?
So I work for the Pacific Crest Trail Association, and we maintain the trail to a very high standard. So generally the trail is well built and well designed. But then there's seasonal conditions like landslides that can make the trail tread very treacherous and dangerous. But most of the danger comes from weather-related conditions. So if snow is covering the trail or the creeks are in flood, then it can be very dangerous. Walking across a steep snow slope or through a raging torrent can be life-threatening and should be taken seriously. But you can also just wait for those conditions to improve.
If someone's seriously considering this, what kind of physical condition should they be in?
Well, people are kind of coming at it from lots of different places. So right now, there's hundreds of people that are planning on traveling down to Campo, California to start the trail. And they are all across the board in terms of ages and physical fitness. But of course, the more physically fit you are, the easier it will be. But for everybody, they learn that you really get in trail shape by hiking the trail. So if you can start out slowly and you're moderately physically fit, like you can ride a bike without becoming winded, you can go on a long walk around your neighborhood, you're probably set for at least trying to hike some of the trail. And after a few weeks of hiking, you'll be in great shape.
Now, as far as trailheads, I mean, is there like a big trailhead in Canada and one in Mexico where you drive in, there's a parking lot, there's porta potties, the whole big thing?
So it's 2,600 miles, and there's all different types. Both of the terminuses at the Mexican border and the Canadian border have monuments. The one at the Canadian border is very remote. There's no road crossing at the border. So you actually hike into Canada a few miles, and then there it's just a road crossing. There isn't really much there. But up near Auburn, you're in Auburn, right?
Yep.
Up near Auburn, there's a whole turnout with bathrooms and parking. It's a highway rest stop right next to the PCT. So generally, they're not developed road crossings, but there are also some developed road crossings with interpretive signs and bathrooms and picnic tables. So I would recommend checking out pcta.org and clicking on maps, and there's an interactive map to see where all the trailheads are. If you think about it, any east-west road across the trail is going to have an access point. So some of my favorite places would be the Feather River area, and then around Sierra City and Sierra Buttes is a great place to access the Pacific Crest Trail. Not only a trail, it's a community of people. And there's thousands of us up and down the West Coast and around the world that love the trail. So come out and join us and meet some new friends.